Hey, hi and welcome back. Now let's start with this video, which is Introduction to Gerber data. So now let me tell you what you are going to learn in this video. So the first point is what is Gerber data. So I will explain you what is Gerber data. Okay. Then the next point is procedure to generate Gerber data in Eagle. So I will show you the detailed procedure to generate the Gerber data in the Eagle software. Actually, the procedure to generate the Gerber data is not that complicated. It's very simple. So quickly I will show you how to generate the Gerber data in Eagle software. Then the next point is introduction to Gerber files. So this Gerber data actually constitute of some files and we call them as Gerber files. So we need to send these Gerber files to the PCB manufacturer in order to get the PCB manufactured. Okay. So I will give you a brief introduction to Gerber files. Then the next point is introduction to Gerber, drill file. So we need to send the drill file along with the Gerber file in order to get the PCB manufactured. So again, I will show you how exactly the drill file look like. Okay. Then the next point is assembly files. So assembly files basically constitute of a pick and place file and it also constitute of bill of material. So we have actually dedicated a separate video for the bill of material. So I will discuss the bill of material in detail there. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to generate the pick and place file and the bill of material file, okay, which are basically part of assembly files. So this is how basically we are going to cover this video, and this particular video is very informative. So listen to this video carefully. Okay. So now let's start with this video. So what is Gerber data? So it's basically a set of files that we need to send to the PCB manufacturer to order the PCB. So we need to send some files or set of files to the PCB manufacturer, and PCB manufacturer is actually going to use those files to create the PCB. Okay, so it's going to use those files to manufacture the PCB. So Gerber data is actually nothing but the files which actually consist of different information regarding the manufacturing of the PCB. So it's going to tell the manufacturer, the file is going to tell the manufacturer where copper will be there, then where silkscreen will be there, then where he has to create the holes in the PCB. So all that information is actually going to be present in the Gerber data. That's why we need to send the Gerber files to the PCB manufacturer. Okay. So I hope that this point is now clear to you. Now let me show you the procedure to generate the Gerber files in the Eagle software. So in order to generate the Gerber data, you have to open the layout editor or the board file. And whenever you will generate the Gerber data, you have to make sure that the copper or the polygon is poured on both the layers. Okay. So I'm going to click on the rat nest. And you can see the polygon is now poured on both the layer, both on top layer and also on the bottom layer. Okay. Now the layout is actually ready to generate the Gerber data. Now in order to generate the Gerber data, you have to click on this particular tab, which is manufacturing. And we have already discussed that this is basically the dummy view of the PCB. And from this view, we actually get the idea about how exactly the manufactured PCB is going to look like. Okay. So this is basically the top view of the PCB. Then this is the bottom view of the PCB. This is how the PCB is going to look like from the bottom side. Then the next one is drill file. So this is basically the drill file. So from here we get to know where the drills will be used by the PCB manufacturer. Okay. So the drills will be used for the mounting holes. Then it will be used for the wires. Then it will be used for the pads of through-hole components. Okay. So I will go back to the top layer. And after that, in order to generate the Gerber file, we have to click on this option, which is CAM. So after that, this particular tab will open, which is CAM processor. So CAM actually stands for computer aided manufacturing, and the files that we generate using this CAM processor, they will be used by the machine, to create the PCB. Okay. So you can see these are basically the different output files that we can generate using this CAM processor. So the first one is Gerber file. Then the next one is drill file. So I will minimize this one. And then the next one is assembly file. So once we click on this particular option, which is export as zip, it's going to zip all this file in one zip file. Okay. So this is basically the Gerber data, which constitute of different layers which is, so you can see top layer. I will just maximize this particular window. So this is how basically the top layer look like. I have actually dedicated a separate video in which I'm going to discuss all these Gerber files, okay, step by step. But you can see this is how the Gerber files actually look like. And these files actually tells the manufacturer how exactly the PCB will look like, after the manufacturing, okay. So these are basically the Gerber files. Then this is how basically the drill file look like. Okay, it's not showing the drill file. So again, the drill file will be present in the zip file. Then the next one is assembly file, which constitute of bill of material and pick and place file, okay. So all these files will be exported in the project location, and then you can send all these files to the PCB manufacturer, okay. So now let me export the zip file now, which will include all these files, which are Gerber file, then drill file and assembly file. Now in order to export the zip file, you have to check this icon, and after that you have to click on process job, okay. So after that you have to navigate to the location where you want to store that zip file. So I'm going to store in this particular location, which is Intentional PCB design training. And after that I will click on save, and after that I will click on open folder. So here it's going to open the location where the zip file is created. Now what I will do, I will extract this particular zip file, and after that extract here, and then you will get this particular folder, which is CAM output. And after that you can see these files are actually present in this CAM output folder. And let me show you the Gerber files now. So these are basically the files that we need to send to the PCB manufacturer, and using these files the PCB manufacturer is actually going to manufacture the PCB, okay. So these files are actually called as Gerber files. So you can see the first file is copper bottom. So this particular file contains the information of copper which is present on the bottom layer. So this file will tell the manufacturer where copper will be present on the bottom layer and where it will not, okay. Then the next file is copper top. So this particular file will tell the manufacturer where the copper will be present on the top layer and where it will not, okay. Then the next file is Gerber job. So this file is actually not that important. Then the next file is profile Gerber. So this file is actually going to tell the PCB manufacturer about the outline or the dimension of the PCB. Then the next file is cell screen bottom. So this file is going to tell the manufacturer where the cell screen or where the designators are present on the bottom layer. Then the next file is cell screen top. So this particular file will tell the manufacturer where the ligands or the designators are present on the top layer. Then solder mask bottom. So you will understand this particular file when I will show you this particular file in the Gerber Viewer software. So I will explain all these files in detail in the next video. So in Gerber Viewer software, you will be able to visualize all these files. So I will show you how exactly each and every file look like, okay. So these are basically all the files, solder paste bottom, solder paste top. So all these files are basically called as Gerber file. Then I will go back, and inside this particular folder you will find the drill file. So this particular file will tell the manufacturer where the manufacturer has to create the holes and what are the size of those holes on the which are actually present on the PCB. Then the next file is assembly file. After that the next file is pick and place file. So PNP actually stands for pick and place. So this particular file is actually important when we place the components using pick and place machine. So when we send our PCB to the manufacturing house, which is called as EMS, which stands for Electronics Manufacturing House. So there we actually do the assembly of the PCB using machines. So we have to send the EMS this particular file, which is called as pick and place file. And these are actually nothing but the coordinates of the component which are present on the PCB. So there is one capacitor C1 whose designator is C1. So the coordinate of that particular capacitor is 17.90. So that's actually x coordinate. Then this is y coordinate, and this 270 degree, this is actually the rotation. So what will be the angle of that particular component? So these are actually all the x coordinates. Then these are actually all the y coordinates, and these are actually the angles for these all components, okay. And you can see C1 is actually nothing but 0.1 microfarad capacitor. So that's actually the information for pick and place file, and this particular file includes all the components which are present on the top side of the PCB. Okay, so you can see here pick and place hardware schematic front.txt. So all the components which are present on the top layer, the coordinates of all the components are actually present in this particular file, and we need to send this particular file to the EMS whenever we have to place the components using pick and place machine. Okay, so that's basically the pick and place file. Then this one is a pick and place file back, which actually stands for all the components which are actually placed on the bottom layer of the PCB. The coordinates of all those components will be, present in this particular file. Now, in our case, there is no component on the bottom layer. That's why this particular file is empty. Okay. And the next file is BOM, which stands for bill of material. So as I told you, I have dedicated a separate video for bill of material. So there I will discuss everything about bill of material file. So this is how basically the bill of material file look like. Alright, so that was all about the Gerber data, and I hope that you got every single thing that we discussed regarding the Gerber data. So Gerber data actually constitute of all these files, and we need to send these Gerber files to the PCB manufacturer. Along with that, this drill file we need to send to the PCB manufacturer to get the PCB manufactured. Okay, so these two files are actually important, and we need to send these two files to the PCB manufacturer, and whenever we have to assemble the PCB, at that time we have to send these three files. Okay, pick and place file and bill of material. All right, that's why it is called as assembly files. Okay, all right, so that's what I wanted to tell in this video. I hope that you got every single thing that we discussed regarding the Gerber files, drill files and assembly file. Okay, now in next video, which is about Gerber viewer, so there I will show you how exactly these all Gerber files look like. Okay, so I will see you in the next video, which is about introduction to Gerber viewer. Okay, so I will see you in next video now.